Welcome. City Council, Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority, regular meeting, April 18, 2013. We will start out with our legal report. Ms. Lyons? Ms. Lyons? I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Council met in closed session, discussed items A through D. Direction was given on all items. No reportable action was taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I need an approval on the agenda, please.
Second.
Okay. First by Mr. Moreno, second by Mr. Hodge. Please vote. Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
I have a discussion on the agenda.
I'm sorry, we're going to get to that right now. City Clerk, please note that all council members are in attendance, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Who told me who did that? Willie, let's go ahead and do a Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Willie. Now I need approval on the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
I will second that, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Please vote.
I have a discussion.
Ms. Lyons, I need a little bit of help. There's already a first and a second to approve the agenda, and Mr. Kim is asking for discussion.
That's supposed to be discussion times.
If the maker of the motion and the seconder wanted to change it so that it's a motion for discussion, then they can do that.
Okay. Gentlemen?
No.
I will change that and defer to Councilman Kim.
Okay, Mr. Kim?
First of all, we don't have the agenda for supposed to be coming back for the what we had the last special meeting for the February spending. It's not there. And the other one is we City of Calexico used to have the closing comment from the council members and plus to future agenda requests from the council member. It's been removed since the new mayor came in, and without the council members to forming for the agenda, it's just removed as just their own decision. That it should be put back for the closing comment from the council members and the future agenda request. It's not there. It's been a couple of months already. Same reason I was saying no on the approval agenda, because I don't want to make too much noise, but it has to be done give the ability to council members to make the closing comment after the meeting and be able to request the future agenda.
I tend to disagree, Madam Mayor. I think general comments at the beginning of the meeting are suffice for our council meetings, and any future agenda items would be needed to be either channeled through you or through city manager by two council members. So I disagree with Mr. Kim on that one.
I disagree with Mr. Moreno because the form of the agenda has to be approved by all the council when they need to change the form. The same things in the last year when they tried to put the public comment to the end, that became try to put the changing of the form of the agenda. As any agenda forming, it has to be agendized to say to the public and to have to become with the council members to actually voting as agenda forms. That is supposed to be coming in that way.
Madam Mayor, this isn't an item on this agenda, so if the council wants to have an item to discuss how the agenda format is at a subsequent meeting, then the council can do that. But we can't have a discussion
Yes, I
tonight
understand
because it's
that.
not on the
But
agenda.
that's what my discussion is. We don't have a form what we used to have it, and without the procedure to change the form. That's why I'm contesting this form of the agenda. It's not the same as what we council usually had it. If it needs to be changed, it has to be using the proper channel to change it.
Call for the question, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Or do you want to continue discussing?
We can't
Or-
continue discussing.
No, I don't want to discuss it, but Councilman Kim, are you suggesting to put this item on the next agenda?
Well, I like to see our agenda to, in case if we need to change from what we approve the form. Right now, we just have changed it by the mayor's own judgment to change that. And we have to revisit our agenda form to make sure we all five agrees to change it.
Madam Mayor, the city has an adopted agenda policy which allows a council member to place an item on an upcoming agenda. So if Mr. Kim wants to follow the adopted agenda policy to put a discussion item on a subsequent council meeting so you can discuss the format of the agenda, that would be my suggestion.
Ms. Lyon-
Rather than we continue discussing the format of the agenda tonight, because all we
Right.
can discuss tonight is what's on the
Yes, I
agenda.
understand, but the thing
Okay.
is, we never ever made a decision to change the form. So which is this form is changed without any proper way. We supposed to go back to older form. Then, if we really want to reserve those closing comment time and what's called the future agenda time, then we have to make the decision to this kind of form. Actually, this form is without any proper procedure being changed. So this form is not really the council approved the form.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kim.
So-
Thank you. I believe that legal is indicating that we can't continue discussion, and that I believe that what you're saying, Ms. Lyons, is that we go ahead and follow the proper channels to have it as a business item on the agenda formally so that we may discuss that. Okay?
Because
Mr.
this
Hodge?
form is not correct form.
That's
what I'm
exactly
trying to
what
say, because never
we're-
been approved this change this form.
And we will have the appropriate time and the appropriate manner to have the appropriate discussion. Okay?
And the proper discussion is going to be when?
Well, you guys would, if you want to, both of you propose the agenda item. You have done that before, and you contact the city manager and
Well, actually,
Could
this
be-
this form is like modified without any proper procedure. That this form is not
and
correct.
that is why
There's
we're going
not-
to have a discussion.
There's not a law that sets forth, other than having public comment on the agenda. There is no state law that tells you how an agenda, what items are on an agenda.
Yes.
It's city's own policies.
Yes.
So your city policy does not require the entire city council to approve the subjects on the agenda. But if you would like to discuss that at a future council meeting so you can put in place a policy on this issue, I would suggest that you go through the written request to the city manager to put a discussion piece at a future agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, can we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. And thank you for your input.
And Madam Mayor, this is to stop the discussion, right?
Or to approve the agenda.
Actually, to approve the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start off our meeting with presentations. Our first presentation will be a proclamation for Veterans Appreciation Month for the month of May 2013. Are there any veterans out in the audience? Mr. Tirado. Come
Mr.
on up,
Cota.
Primo. Thank you. Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
I'm going to read this then, okay?
Okay.
Whereas the people of Imperial Valley appreciate and admire the thousands of men and women who served in the armed forces to protect and preserve their country and the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans. And whereas in war, international conflicts, and peacekeeping missions, men and women have been wounded, taken as prisoners, and died in the line of duty. And whereas veterans possess a wide variety of valuable qualities, including experience, maturity, leadership, and loyalty that make them ideal candidates for employment. And whereas the City of Calexico is committed to ensuring that veterans receive the services and programs to which they are entitled, and to promoting employer interest in hiring veterans. And whereas during Veterans Appreciation Month, state and local agencies increase employer awareness about the benefits of hiring veterans, and now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Calexico does hereby proclaim May 2013 as Veterans Appreciation Month in the City of Calexico. In witness whereof, I hereunto affix by signature an official seal of the City of Calexico on this 18th day of April 2013. Mayor Marichuta.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What, remind me again, what service is it that you served with?
I was in the United States Coast Guard for
That's right.
7 years.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you want to have a few words first?
But on behalf of the EDD veteran team and Imperial Valley Veterans Employment Committee, and all veterans, I'd like to say thank you. I know in the month of May, we will be having an event, May 7th, which we'll be sending out invitations to all at the Imperial Valley Vet Hall, and hopefully we can all attend. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. If you can give us a little bit of information how to contact you, because you're in charge of the program to hire veterans. Is that what you just said?
That's correct.
Okay. If you don't mind, I would like to know it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next presentation is by the Business Improvement District. I think we have our president for the bid. Regarding ongoing activities.
Members of the council, good afternoon. My name is Jaime Jimenez. I work for ClearTalk, and the business we have is in Heffernan and 2nd Street. I have been recently named president of the BID in Calexico, and with me is former president Maurice Risen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Ordinance 990 established the Calexico Business Improvement District, in which an annual assessment is to be collected at the same time and manner as the business tax license fees. Ordinance 990 established the fees to be assessed on the boundary of the bid assessment is currently based on zones and business categories. The boundary and zones established are shown on Exhibit D. The categories established under the ordinance are general retailers, restaurants, non-retailers, service providers, and state regulator companies, and specifies fees to be collected. In 1999, the Business Improvement District, through Resolution 0982, established an annual fee of $100, which is the actual fee we have right now. The BID committee appointed by the City Council continues to meet on a regular basis since February 1909 and has accomplished, with the assistance of the city staff, promotional events and advertisement on behalf of the BID. The events hosted by the BID include advertisement in print, radio, and television media. Advertisements provided by the BID promotes all business within the zone boundaries. Here are some of following activities for the 2012 year calendar. We had 3 promotional events, which was the 4th annual car show, which brings over 3,000 people, and there was about 100 cars. And during this period of time, we also start, in March, we also start the 50-50 advertisement campaign for the BID members. The other promotional event we did was music on the street. During the summer, we know that Calexico goes into a low economic season, since a lot of people leave town and go on vacation. So we try to attract the people by having music in the streets, so they can come to downtown and visit the businesses. Also, in August, we start a 50-50 program advertising for back to school. We know that during this time, people start getting ready for the kids to go back to school. So we took advantage of that and started that promotion. And the third event was on October, and we held a Halloween carnival, which featured games, jumpers, entertainment, and food, and a costume contest. A lot of people also show up. A lot of people from Mexicali and other cities came to join this event. And we have been meeting every month, as I said, and we also deal with the cleaning of the streets, the alleys. We support some financial projects like having portable toilets during the season, the agricultural season, when a lot of people is on the streets in the morning, early morning hours, and they don't have a place where to go and do their business. So we provide for them this bathroom, trying to keep the city clean. Because if we want our business to be successful, we need to keep a clean city. We need to have it. So that's basically what we have been working on. And some of the recommendations we have for the calendar year 2013 will be to keep the boundaries of the bid unchanged as they were established by Ordinance 990. Also, another recommendation is to keep the Zone 1 and Zone 2 up as it is right now. I was wondering, maybe you don't know what's... Zone 1 goes from Mary to Pauline Street, and from First Street to 4th Street. Zone 2 of the bid goes from Imperial to Emerson, and from 2nd Street to Highway 98. So we want to keep the same zones and the same boundaries. The other recommendation that we have is to keep the same the same assessment fee, which is $100, and it gets collected with a business license. So we want to keep this going forward. I don't know if Mr. Morris wants to add something to this report.
I'm just saying that right now we're working on putting lights on 3rd Street now, on Heber, Heffernan, and Rockwood, like we did on 2nd Street, to light up the city on 2nd and 3rd Street. So that's our next project right now. And we also have a project that we're going to hire somebody from 4 hours a day to street sweep. No, well, mostly the sidewalks, like they do in Disneyland, with a little broom and a picker upper. So that's our next project. They're starting next month. So we'll try to keep our city clean. As far as the graffiti, we're going to have to talk to the police chief on that one, see what we can do there. But other than that, we're going to really try to keep it clean. And that's it.
Okay.
Any questions? Any questions?
Can you repeat just one more time? You had said that you're doing alley cleaning. How often is the alley cleaning?
The alleys are, we're gonna put somebody there once a week. The same person that's gonna sweep the sidewalks is going to once a week to steam clean the alleys.
Okay, so the steam cleaning of the alleys
Steam clean the
is
alley. Right now,
happening-
the city is doing it, I believe, every Thursday morning. We're gonna try to do it on Monday mornings. That's one of our projects there.
So we'll end up with two? In other words, the city will be covering one and then the bid will be covering the other?
No, we're gonna cover the whole area that the city covers. Just
No,
do
I
it
mean-
twice
I
a day,
mean-
a week.
Frequency?
Twice a week.
Okay, because twice a week means that then the city will do one and the bid will do the other? Is that what
Right,
you're
the
saying?
city will do it on Thursday morning as they're doing it now, and we'll do it on Monday morning.
Okay. And then that's the alleys. Now, what did you say about the sidewalks?
So we're going to hire this person from 11 o'clock in the morning till 4 hours a day to walk around with a small broom and just sweep the sidewalks that are, usually in the morning, most of the businesses sweep their sidewalks at 9 o'clock in the morning. By 11, 12 o'clock, it starts getting...
Especially if it's windy.
When it's windy.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have somebody 6 days a week going from 11 to 4, or 11 to 3, 4 hours a day.
Okay, that's great.
That's our next
good.
project.
That's a great idea. I really appreciate that. And you said the portable toilets are not there. Those are only seasonal. What's the season?
Well, it's usually season for about 6 months from October when the field workers come till April.
Okay.
But what we're doing now is we're going to use our monies for the steam cleaning of the alleys. That'll work better than using the restrooms, or we'll just cut the restrooms in half. Because it's like $2,000 a month that we're paying on the restrooms, and to steam clean it'll be like $1,200 to $1,500
For the steam cleaning?
to clean the sidewalks.
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen?
Yes, I have some questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Kim.
One thing, when I used to have a store in downtown, during the business hours, probably 2 hours, 3 hours later, the lots of people, they throwing the trash. And sometimes they left a cup on the next wall of my stores, and they left the whole days. Is there any chance you guys any think about the planning to hire some cleaning crews, maybe 2 or maybe at least 2 times a day during the business hours, the picking up the trash?
Well, our budget right now is going to be for 4 hours a day from 11 to 4. Because they have to work at least 4 hours a day, according to I think it's the law, California law, I guess. They have to work at least 4 hours. They can't go 2 hours and then come back in the afternoon 2 hours. But they will clean in front of the stores and use the trash cans for loading up all the trash.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, they don't care about the trash can, just left whatever place in the downtown. So maybe that way keep the little cleaner than during the business hours too.
Yeah, it will be from business hours from 11 to 3, 4 hours.
And the other one is I probably maybe discuss with the police departments. One thing is they might need a traffic signal for the passengers. I mean, pedestrians, the signal, because without the signal, a lot of cars have been locked it. I mean, they can't move it. So when they finish the people. Almost finish the people crossing the street, they start coming again. So car has to be stopped. So we are supposed to looking into some pedestrian signal, so that way to help the what's called the traffic of this car. That way, little more car friendly downtown can make it better too.
Well, okay. Well, the scope of this work will be downtown, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Street. It won't be in the alleys during the 4-hour period, or the parking lots in the back. If they have theft back there, we don't clean the alleys or the parking lots. But they will keep their eyes open in case there's any mischief doing.
I'm not talking about the alleys. I'm talking about the street, 1st and 2nd Street, without the signal, traffic signal. I mean the pedestrian signal. They're very hardly car can pass.
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Kim and Councilman King, and we will include in the agenda this item for our next meeting to discuss it with the Chief of Police to see what we can do about including some or installing some traffic signals for pedestrians. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do need one from on 1st Street crossing the border. From that donut shop to the border, we need one there. So
I remember a long time ago, I think we even had officers or...
We have officers, but we need it
crossing
24/7. We need it for,
That was a long time ago. That was like 20 years ago we had something like that, I remember.
No, they had it like 2 years ago. They had there when it was busy. But we're going to try to get lights there.
Okay. Okay, any other questions, gentlemen?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you to the bid very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, our next presentation is a presentation by the Imperial Irrigation District. Do you have a representative? We sure do. Thank you for coming.
Finally.
And this is on the 2013 IID Copper Theft Deterrent Campaign. We all have some information here.
Thank you, Madam President. Mario Escalera, Imperial Irrigation District, and I want to thank the board for their patience for waiting for us to show up.
We're very patient.
believe me that it was not intended to be any slight. The last time I was supposed to arrive here, I got called up to LA, and I wasn't sure I was going to make it back.
Oh, no problem.
But I do thank you for the opportunity to present this to the city of Calexico. What the Imperial Irrigation District is attempting to do is to bring forward its copper theft program. As you'll see in the presentation, it's just really a reinforcement and an outreach in trying to address an issue that is not only affecting the Imperial Irrigation District or power utilities in California or the nation, but actually it's an issue that affects everybody, including cities and put the public on its own. If I may, and I want to thank you, Mr. Servin, for the help. If you see on the first page, it's really just an overview of what we'll cover. One is just a little bit on the copper theft itself, a quick overview of the community problem, some quick numbers on the cost to the public, some changes that we've been able to get through the legislation, a little bit more detail on IID's outreach and reward program, and of course, the reason that we're actually here is not only to thank you for the continued support that we have from the city of Calexico, its public, and its police department, but for additional help and partnership. If I can, the copper, everybody refers to copper, but actually it's not just copper. We have brass, aluminum, some platinum, but of course the most common theft of metal is usually aluminum and copper, and that's due to just the common use throughout the industry. One of the reasons that it's gone up is that just a few years ago, a pound of copper was about 70 cents a pound, and so it wasn't worth the effort that it takes now. Now it sits well over $3 a pound, which makes it more valuable, and you can tell that by, for most of us that have been here most of our lives, we used to have one recycling center. We now have about a dozen recycling centers, and that goes to the increased value of the metals. The increase, of course, correlates, pricing correlates with the copper theft of all our wires. This theft is done into our substations and our systems, and just wires, ones that would affect the city most likely, and easy to identify is those that power the streetlights. A lot of times, the reason that the light isn't on is not because the light itself isn't working, is that somebody has gone and stolen the wire feeding it. We have also in the past received, on the water side, we had a couple of years ago a rash of thefts on our water gates and with the help of the communities and the law enforcement of all of Imperial County, and actually with help from the Mexican police, we were able to apprehend those that were doing that, and that has kind of dropped itself down quite a bit, and now we're just seeing a lot of copper and aluminum theft on the energy side. The program was actually instituted about 2008. Since then, we've had a number of improvements that we've done. We've got physical barriers, deterrents, we've incorporated security device. We've had public outreaches, which this is an example of that public outreach. And the reason for the public outreach is that we want to make it, not only are we asking to partner with everybody in our service area to help us with this problem, but it's really not a problem of just the Imperial Irrigation District. It's really a problem, it's a cost to everybody. It's not a victimless crime. When theft occurs, whether it's a street light, a fire hydrant, or anything from a public utility, it actually boils down to the constituents of that public utility. And so if the district, if somebody steals copper from one of our switching stations and we have to go out and repair it, the cost is quite minimal. And that cost actually goes back through to the customer, because just like the cities, we rely on income from the services we provide. And the other issue, then, and more importantly, I think, than cost, is the fact that copper theft compromises the reliability of our system and the safety of our system. Copper primarily is not used just to transmit electricity, but it's the primary metal used for grounding. And grounding an electrical system is what gives that added protection to not only the public, but to our workers when they are working on the system. A substation, to give you an example, substation is those areas that are fenced in when you see a lot of equipment. Actually, underneath the ground, there's a whole grid of copper wire, thick copper, what we call 4-aught copper wire, that if there was to be an incident in the substation, it protects the substation grounding, so if somebody was to lean against the fence, they're properly grounded. But we've now had instances where some of the theft has gotten pretty brazen. They've actually gone inside into the substations to cut this. We've had people go in and actually cut live wires. They're getting pretty brazen. Again, copper theft is extremely dangerous. It attributes to a number of deaths. We estimate that the industry, something around 50 deaths a year due to attempts to steal copper off a live wire. I can tell you, just in the La Quinta area a few months ago, we had an incident where an individual got into a switch where, in an attempt to steal copper, he got into a live wire, got electrocuted, wasn't killed. In fact, the way we found out is that he caused an outage. When our troubleshooter went out to see what the problem was, found this individual sitting underneath the tree with severe burns to his hands and legs. At first, he wasn't sure what caused it. We called the highway. He called the ambulance for medical help. But once he realized what had happened, because this individual was trying to hide the copper he had stolen by sitting on it, so it is very dangerous. He was sent, of course, went to the hospital to take care, and as soon as he was released from the hospital, then he was incarcerated for the theft. And again, one of the major concerns that we have is that when they do this, it doesn't only put the thefts at risk, but again, it has a possibility of putting at risk the community and our workers. We have a very redundant system, so it's not something that's likely going to happen, but it certainly is a level that is cutting out on a redundant grounding system. On the current legislation, the crimes against the IID facilities are federal offenses, particularly if they're in a substation, because they're considered to be critical to the infrastructure of the United States. And we stress this, that if you get caught stealing, doing damage or whatever it may be inside a substation, it is not just a local crime, it is a federal crime. IIDs works with all of our local enforcement agencies, including the city of Calexico, and we do want to thank for their support in capture and in conviction of these thieves. And we do prosecute to the fullest extent of the law when this happened. An example of some of the state laws that we were able to pass, and I say us as a utility, is that now anybody that's caught, particularly the recyclers of stolen copper, has fines up to $3,000. Other ones is that we are now able to, if the dealer accepts material without the proper procedure, which requires an ID from the seller, we can actually charge not only the cost of the copper, what it costs us to repair. To give you an idea, the IID spent over $1 million in just copper theft repair last year, and that translates into a direct impact to our budget. The other one is, of course, we were able to raise another one, which is when the dealer actually normally buys material. And though these may seem small, believe it or not, the recycling lobby is a very strong lobby in California for whatever reason. And it took a lot of effort from the utilities to be able to get just these across. as an outreach program and a reward program for the ID is, again, we've instituted some very strong deterrent program. We've incorporate quite a lot of multi-pronged approaches. We assign quite a good portion of our funds in the security of our equipment. The other thing we've done is we offer up to $2,500 for the information leading to the arrest and conviction of a theft, and I can tell you that we have paid that out a number of times. We've got actually have physical security in our system. We actually have our own security that goes out and checks on them. We have renewed coordination with all of our local law enforcement agencies. It's been brought up as a top object item to our legislative support. And then, of course, it's the community outreach where we think we will have the greatest success in at least, if not stopping this, is at least minimizing the effect of all the copper theft. And why I'm here. I'm here actually for us to show ask you for your support. We have a number of posters and material that we have published. I have a couple of copies of the posters that I left on the table. We would like, we brought them just to, I don't know who to ask, if we could start placing them in the offices, and if it's possible, then we'll bring as many as you'll allow us to put in your facilities. We also have smaller distribution material that we would like for you to use and distribute to your employees. We find that that's a captive audience. That's what we do with our folks. And we can certainly, I don't know if we talk to Mr. Rodriguez or whoever, if with your approval to do that. And then if you have an insert later, we'd like to put some additional information there for that. And then personally, knowing that Calexico, your city councils tend to have good audiences, is that for those that are listening to us, is that we ask that everybody become more aware. And if you see a suspicious person, activity around these green boxes, that you either call our 800 number to report it, or better yet, call the 911 and call the police and that, because nobody has any business around our system except our folks. With that concludes, and I want to thank you for the few minutes that we've been allowed. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to address them.
Sure. Do we have any questions? Any questions? I only have a couple of comments, and they're both related on how this city can help you, is that we do have a website.
Yes, we do.
That maybe Mr. Rodriguez then can work with you and have your information on our website, if it's not already there.
Yeah.
And the other is that at present, we have a water bill where you can insert a message, and it has to be timely where you actually insert your message in there, but we do also have that, and that goes out to all our water customers.
We'd appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I didn't know that this was a federal crime.
If it is a federal crime, if it's a substation.
Yeah. Oh, okay, if it's a substation. Okay. Why, thank you then. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. We're on our public comment section of the agenda. Announcements, public appearances, and public comments. Note, not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is a closed session item, please comment now. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to that item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. I only have two today, so we'll start off with Mr. Rudy Alarcón, and the subject is staffing levels at PD.
Good afternoon to everyone. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Rudy Alarcón. I represent the Calexico Police Officers Association, and I'm here to make our council aware of a concern that we have. And today, I'm here with a matter which should be of concern to every member of the council and our community. Recently, in an attempt to save the city some money, our interim chief, Gonzalo Gerardo, changed existing policy. The interim chief recklessly reduced minimum staffing levels from 1 patrol supervisor and 4 patrol officers to 1 patrol supervisor and 3 patrol officers. This is in violation of existing police department policy. Why should this be of concern to all of us? By minimizing the staffing of an already short-staffed patrol shift, it puts the safety of every community member in jeopardy. Let me run a brief but important scenario of what happens in our day-to-day patrol activities. Should the police get called out to a domestic violence call, which is probably one of our most common and most dangerous calls we respond to in our city. This type of call requires the response of a minimum of 3 officers until the situation is deemed safe or under control. Should another emergency call require units to respond, such as a traffic accident with injuries, the remaining 2 officers will then respond tending to the accident, leaving the city momentarily unattended until both matters are resolved. Should this domestic violence call result in an arrest, 1 officer will transport to the county jail and be out of the city limits. Should the traffic accident with injuries result in a party being transported to the hospital, an officer may have to respond to obtain a statement and or retrieve evidence which will remove another officer from patrol, leaving the city only attended by 2 officers. By reducing the staffing level by this same scenario, you would only leave the city being patrolled by 2 officers. This type of decision is reckless and gambles with the safety of our community and police officers. We ask, Madam Mayor, you give direction to stop this and not turn a blind eye to this matter before someone gets hurt or even killed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker is Luis Cota. And Luis is here for the tri-tip cook-off for the Baja Runners. It doesn't say, oh yeah, it does say.
Hello, my name is Luis Cota, and I am a resident of Calexico. Honorable Mayor Hurtado, Councilman Kim, Councilman Castro, Councilman Hodge, Councilman Moreno. For the benefit of some of you who may not know of the Calexico Baja Runners, we have been active since 1990. For over 20 years, this organization has helped our youth by supporting Little League teams, softball programs, football programs. We have established scholarships for deserving students, and we have continued to do so year after year. I'm here on behalf of the Calexico Baja Runners organization and let you know that the strength of our organization is actually its membership. We have educators, plumbers, electricians. We have law enforcement officers. We have city employees, county employees, state and federal employees. And the diverse group that we have is that each and every one of us has something to offer, a skill, an expertise, which makes this group very strong. But more important than that is that our dedication to help our communities and those in need is foremost. The last few years, our organization has been very busy. Since January, we have had every single weekend out there helping the community, helping an individual, helping a family, helping an organization, up to today, every single weekend. In fact, this coming weekend, I believe, is that one weekend that I can say, for the lack of better words, a weekend off. In early January, we were granted and approved our 501c3 nonprofit status, something that we are all very proud of.
Congratulations.
And amongst discussions and debates within our groups, we took upon ourselves this monumental task and challenge of bringing and organizing this tri-tip cook-off that will happen this month, April the 27th. It is a major, major production. We have teams competing, obviously for the first prize and bragging rights. But most important, I think it's going to bring a highlight to this community community by bringing this type of event in Calexico at Crummett Park. We have bands, we have secured lighting systems, sound systems. We have many people supporting us to put this thing together. Now, one of the things that I believe is important for you as council members and the public is that we're doing this for the benefit of the community. Obviously, we do want to raise funds. And since our exposure has been that much greater over the last few years, we have more and more people coming to us and asking us for the assistance. Now, the main purpose for coming here before you today is to invite you and hope that you will attend this event come April and see for yourself the type of work that's being put on to put this thing together. I think, and we are hopeful, that it will be successful. It's, again, it was a major production. It still is. And with that, there are only a couple of things. Maybe this is not the proper forum for me to say this or ask, but there are a couple of things that maybe you may consider, and that is on April 27th, the weather forecast is going to be hot, high in 90s. Crummett Park has no shade, and we are in the process of trying to have many people supporting us in bringing shade to that particular venue, the area. But we need, if it's possible, if the city can provide some of the benches that are out there in other parks and putting them out in Crummett Park, that would be a lot of help. And another thing is the waiver of a fee for the use of that park. Other than that, if there are any questions that you have, we'll be happy.
Are there any questions, gentlemen?
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for the invitation. Okay. We, personally, I've already made my decision who's the winner of the tri-tip cook-off, and it's that one gentleman, Mr. Felix over there. I've tasted his tri-tip before, and it's the best.
Thank you.
But we might as well allow the others to try, right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and congratulations, and we will be there for you. April 27th at Crummett Park. Yes.
What are the times, Mr. Cota? The times of the tri-tip?
It's open at 9 a.m. till question mark.
Okay.
So I'll probably not eat anything for a whole week before we get there? Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you very much.
We're moving on now to general comments by council members. Mr. City Manager, do you want to have your comments now? Because I always forget you. I always forget you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Do you want to have your comments now, or you want to wait after the...
Whatever your pleasure is.
Just so that I won't forget you. Go ahead.
I'll throw something at you if you forget.
3 times I've forgotten you already.
Just a couple of items. On the administration side, we've started preparation for budget. Seems like we just finished one budget and we're starting into another. So we're starting to run the numbers for budget 13-14. Our hope is that our revenue structure has stabilized. So that actually is good news, because in the past, as you know, our revenues have actually gone down. So we're hoping that our revenue stays steady for the coming year. We're going to try to maintain our expenditures for the 4th year in a row, and we're going to start negotiations here shortly. We have a situation which I'm sure you've all seen on 98 and Ollie. We are repairing a manhole, and it's like doing a rehabilitation. Anytime you start tearing behind the walls, you find everything else that you weren't sure about. So I was informed that where we were hoping to be out of there in a week, it's probably going to be more like 2 weeks. As we went in there, we found out that the line did not align. So it was offset. The 2 lines were offset, and so we were having a problem because obviously they weren't connecting. So we're having to go in there and take out the line. It's a 27-inch pipe, and so it was offset by 2 feet, and so we'll have to replace about 30 linear feet. Also, as we went in there, we were finding out that 2 of the sewer leaks, there was 2 sewer leaks from from the bypass pumps. So again, you start going in there, start digging up, and you're finding out that there's other things that you weren't expecting. Now, when we get said and done, of course, that'll be nice because we won't have to worry about that manhole and those issues in the future because that's a main thoroughfare. But we will have a little bit of inconvenience for the next couple of weeks, so bear with us on that. The long-awaited Noche Bohemias will start, the first one will be April 26th. So put it all on your calendars, maybe go by there and visit with them on the 26th. Our signature event for the city and the chamber and this community, the Mariachi Festival, is going to be on the 18th, and so the week of May 13th through the 18th, we will be promoting a lot of activities along with the chamber, who is the organizing party. We're also making arrangements, preparations for a visit from the acting state librarian, who will be visiting and touring the valley on Monday the 29th, and so we will be providing a tour to him of the Camarena Library and the Carnegie Tech Center. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have some questions.
Oh, you wanted to ask a question to what he
Yes.
just stated?
Yes.
Go ahead.
On the 26th of April, that's gonna be the Noches Bohemias, right?
That's correct.
From what time to what time and
There's a flyer.
where at? I'm sorry?
Hay un volante. There's a flyer.
Sorry, Sandra.
I know,
Let me see if I have it
he's
here.
mentioned right now, so I want the public to know the
It's,
time and date.
I believe it's at the community center. Is Sandra's not here?
No, it's your
I believe it's at the community center, and I want to say it starts up at about 6:30.
From
But
6:30.
if, for sure, we can contact Sandra and find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out before the night is over. Okay, Mr. Kim, you
Okay.
also had a question?
I believe that we were mentioning about the sewer system, the sewer line that's fixing on the Ollie.
It started with fixing of a manhole and the sewer line, and now we're finding out that there are other issues.
Yes, but for the public, I have issues. The public doesn't know about the how to go. They all goes around. I believe that when we have those kind of constructions going on, we supposed to have some sign to people they can use a detour lane to go to some place, and there's no sign at all to how can they get detour. So if they have a little more sign for the probably 3-4 side of the street, they can what's called the inform how can they can use which route they can use to go to pass through.
Okay, I know that Public Works did some promotion on that and advertising and letting
Yes,
people know,
they
so I'll let
did.
them.
They did it for the tenants or people who stay in that areas, but the people who driving the car to visit that areas, they don't have information on those. So I think they need some sign at the street to dedicating for the detouring the route. People can go further that way.
If I may, Nick Servine, Public Director. Excuse me. We, like you said, we have cones. We have traffic control people out there. At the post office, actually, we have somebody stationed there. We're going to have somebody there 24/7, even on the weekends, so that we make sure that the post office trucks come in and out safely, as well as the people. So we are directing them. We have a live person there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Now we're going to move on to general comments by council members. If you'd like to start, Mr. Moreno.
Sure, thank you. Just want to send prayers out to the Boston Marathon tragedy that happened earlier this week, and hopefully, from what I understand, they've identified some suspects, so hopefully that goes well for the city of Boston. And I understand that the Ivy Press had alerted me that 4 juveniles have been detained for the arson in downtown Brawley, which is good news. Hopefully, Brawley will get through this. They're downtown. I attended the Relay for Life. I saw Chief Mercado there with quite a number of people supporting cancer awareness and raising money. I understand that they raised over their limit of $45,000 or something like that, so it was a great event. Mr. Kim was also in attendance for a little while. I also have been to the baseball parks, been meeting with some of the members of the Little League. We hope that Rodriguez Park, Legion Field, and Rivera Park get the much-needed work that needs to happen out there. When the park is dry, it becomes a danger to our athletes that are playing on there, so hopefully we can have a master plan. Madam Mayor, I know you're on the subcommittee along with Councilman Castro, to look at the baseball parks in addition to the other parks throughout the city. I did meet with Salvador Munoz, who was in charge of the Babe Ruth. He had told me that his snack bar had been broken in 2 days in a row. He had painted it, graffiti went up the next day. So it's a tough situation, but we need to support them as well. And finally, I want to thank you for a great State of the City address that you gave on Tuesday. I've been to a lot of State of the City addresses, I've been to State of the County addresses, and I have to say by far that this was the most informative and entertaining State of the City. So a big thank you for you to provide our citizens with a lot of the developments and positive things that are going on within our community. Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome. Mr. Hutch.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I approached over a month ago City Manager Rodriguez to hold a meeting pertaining to parks with selected stakeholders, and I just want to thank those stakeholders, the subcommittee on parks, Mayor Madam, Councilman Castro, and the others. What was produced was a plan. It was very informative and well detailed, so that's very hopeful. And I want to thank Measure H for voting on that and accepting that they will be issuing money to maintain the parks. So I'm very happy about that. And it was the idea came about when I visited Kennedy Gardens when Mr. Javier Gonzalez he had cleaned up the area. The other area, as I met with City Manager Mr. Rodriguez, along with Herman Duran, and I'm helping him with the Cordova nonprofit. We're in the early embryonic stages, very much want to bring back a boxing program. And the meeting was very fruitful, and it seems like there's a real possibility. No promises at this point, but we're working on it, and I know everybody here at the council, I'm very sure, would like to see that happen. So that's very promising. Thank you. And very good state of address. Excellent.
Thank you.
I love the video. It was great.
Thank you. And just to remind you that the video was created by Mi Calexico. The famous Angel Esparza did a great job, and it's on his website, which is www.micalexico.com for any of you that would like to see that. Thank you. Mr. Kim, you're next.
First of all, I believe some of the members of the community, they know they are on the plan to closing the courthouses in Calexico. I think I encouraged all the community members to talk to the neighbor to send their concern about the closing the courthouse in Calexico. That service has to be provided to the City of Calexico community, and I like to encouraging our community members to make sure they hear our voice. And the other one is I have some issues about our city of Calexico. There is nothing to bragging of the city of Calexico right now because Calexico right now is going down every yearly basis. And I'm glad that Mr. Moreno was mentioning about the condition of the parks. We have bad condition parks, and we still on the talking process. Actually, they cannot implementing much. And we close Friday. We keep closing Friday for our city hall. And street is bad conditions. I understand they're doing something, but we should be expediting our service to the community. It's very bad conditions. I was mentioning last time, the Colo still, if someone wants a massage, they go right in the Colo. They don't need to go to massage. They just pass 2-3 times, and they're going to have a full massage in their body. And our budget is unclear. The numbers always dancing around. And we, council member, has to be diligent to deal with the issues we have here and make the better living condition for our community. That is our job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Castro.
Yes, I concur with Mr. Kim related to the courts. They're trying to close the municipal court, or it's not a municipal court anymore, right?
Superior.
Superior Court. And we need to follow the instruction. The instruction from the city manager. I believe we, all the city council members and the city manager, need to hear the options in order to fight against the people who want to close the courts. Why? Because there is too many obstacles against the population for the city of Calexico, and also from the people from Mexicali, that the people who lives up there and come to Calexico and make some payments to the court. So that's something that we need to focus on that, and we are going to get together and talk about the options. And I believe all my colleagues, they're not in favor of that. So that's something that we need to focus. The other issue is the state of the city address. I believe you did good explanation to the community related to the city, and I congratulate you, Maritza.
Gracias.
Madam Maritza Hurtado. And also related to the parks, I know there is so many problems, still so many problems related to the parks, and but we need to coordinate with Sandra Thaler and also with the administration, city manager, and we need to move forward and focus, because this is a huge problem, and definitely we need to move like today. I mean, this is an old problem, and I hope city manager, city manager, and also the colleagues support our recreation director, Sandra Thaler, for that, and also that's something that definitely no excuse. We need to move forward on that. So will you please either set a meeting or set a date so we can do something right away, Mr. Oscar Rodriguez, city manager. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Castro. With regard to what you just said right now, I think that Measure H just approved the money that we were going to be needing for the plans. Is that correct? Is that
Okay.
correct, Mr. Rodriguez? That Measure H approved within the plan that the subcommittee was pushing forward, there was an amount that was going to be required to be able to do the plans, the repairs planned, and that was approved on Monday?
As you know, we have formulated a plan.
Right.
And now we're implementing that plan. So the first part of the implementation was to go to Measure H and ask for assistance for the maintenance part of it.
Right.
Now, the second part of the plan is to look at the 1 to 2 years, what needs to be done. And so that committee will be meeting again to look at those and prioritize what those improvements are and where the funding is going to come from. So now there's a plan in place that we can implement.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
That's great.
My question would be, does this include the ballparks as well as the recreational parks?
I can explain that a little more, if you like. I can tell you.
Could you?
I don't believe that maybe we did too much explaining about what we did in that meeting, that last one that we had. When we came back, we didn't explain too much, did we?
No.
Okay. We did a very big meeting. We were already on the way towards that meeting, but you kind of pushed us to hurry up, which is good. And so we had a really good meeting with all the stakeholders, all of the, well, at least the majority of the, everyone was invited as far as Little League, softball programs, soccer programs, everyone was invited so that we can basically roll out our ideas to the public and let them know what it is that we were going to be doing and how we were going to be managing the facilities. And what we ended up doing was going over an inventory of all of the different parks. And that inventory then was very detailed as far as what it is that we could do for each different park. And in a 1-year goal, 2-year goal, and I believe the other was 5-year goal. So what we're trying to take care of is what we're like to accomplish now within that 1-year goal. So yes, every single park was addressed. And everyone was there present when we went through that one inventory. So everyone was able to be present. But we did have, Little League was not there. That was unfortunate. But everyone else was there as far as...
But those parks were
Those
addressed.
parks are definitely there.
Okay.
And that happened when everyone was sick. I was sick, Sandra was sick, and they had gone out for a tour in the different locations in the city, and they actually took the inventory by actually going out there physically.
Okay.
So yes, everything was covered.
Thank you, Madam
Yes.
Mayor.
Okay. So we're expecting that this subcommittee continues working on the next steps of the plan. Okay, so hopefully we'll see some results pretty soon. Okay, I only have a couple of things to mention of activities that I've been involved in. Yesterday, I went to a dispatchers recognition luncheon held here at our Cultural Arts Center for the dispatchers, not only the dispatchers of the city of Calexico, but dispatchers from the Border Patrol, from Sheriff's Office, and other cities. So that was really nice that we hosted that event for them. It was very nicely attended. There was a lot of people there, enjoyed the company and the conversation. So that was very nice expression of hospitality from the city of Calexico, and I hope we have more opportunities to do that. Last Thursday, I went to another meeting in Mexicali where we're continuing the conversations with the Mexicali officials with regard to options on, well, not necessarily options, but the full picture of what it is that's occurring right now with our new port of entry. So that working group consists of people from Imperial Valley, for example, the ICTC, and other different agencies. Mr. Renison was there, myself, and then our different agencies in Mexicali. So there wasn't really necessarily anything new with that because we're kind of waiting around right now to see what results will be coming out from the new legislation, the new immigration legislation that might provide for funding. Apparently we had some funding released in the last budget towards Chula Vista renovation of their port of entry. However, Calexico was not on that list. But because we have immigration changes expected, there might be that ray of hope there. So I'll be updating as we're going along. So I believe that's all as far as my comments. So I believe we can move along. And our next item is to approve our agenda.
Madam Mayor, so motion to approve consent.
Second that, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, I have discussions on that.
Actually, right now at this point, it might be
Okay.
about wanting to pull items. Which items do you want to pull?
I need to pull out. I need to pull out that one because they have some conflict of interest on me. So I need to approve this separately. And I believe page.
I'm confused.
Page, I believe the 3.
Page what?
Page 2. Calexico Unified School District, they have a crossing guard matters.
When an item is on consent, you do not need to pull it because you have a conflict.
No,
You can just state that those items, but it doesn't need to be pulled off.
Yeah,
consent
but I
agenda.
want to discuss separately that I think I can be excused.
Okay, you're going to have to help me, Ms. Lyons. I'm not understanding what it is that...
If you believe you have a conflict of interest, then go ahead and disqualify yourself from the whole item and just let the council members vote on the rest of it.
So I cannot engage in hold this budget.
It's one report, so I would just suggest the safest thing to do is just disqualify on the whole item and let the let the other 4 council members vote on the item.
Page 2. Right here.
So he needs to
So-
disqualify the whole item?
Can you explain to us what's happening?
Can
so
you
that-
make the decision only this separately?
I would just suggest that because it's one report. I would just suggest you disqualify on this item and then you let the balance of the council vote on it at this point in time.
So we cannot pull these items for separately then?
It's one item. Is that what you're saying, Ms. Lyons? It's
When you're
one item?
asking me in the middle of the council meeting, I would just say that's the safest thing to do because it's one report. So I would just suggest do it that way. If we knew about this ahead of time, we could have arranged for it to be, somewhat separate. So I think at this point, that's the safest thing to do. But it's conflict of interest are the purview of the council member. You make the decision on it. So if you're asking my advice, that's what I suggest you do at this point is just disqualify on the item.
Okay, then I'm gonna excuse myself.
But you can remain here because on consent agenda, council members don't have to leave the room.
We don't want you to leave.
Right, unless somebody pulls it and we start having a full discussion, then you have to leave.
Or you're like Bill Hodge and got to go to the
Excuse
restroom. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm over 60, John, give me a break.
Okay. Is that the only question you had, Mr. Kim? Mr. Kim, is that the only question you had?
Yeah, so I'm gonna disqualify myself for this item because of conflict of interest.
Okay, so do I have a first to approve the agenda?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, please vote.
I have some question, Mayor.
Councilman, just a second. Councilman Castro has questions. We already started voting, gentlemen.
Second
And-
for discussion.
There was already a second for the voting. So since I'm in the middle of a voting, you gentlemen, just like we just did earlier, you just gave a first, you gave a second. Would you like to have that then held back and allow Mr. Castro to make comments?
It's all depend on you guys.
I move to approve. Mr. Hodge can second for discussion if he likes.
Well, I have to respect his concern, but wow, we're getting bogged down on
Minutia.
what's the problem?
Well,
Okay.
let me ask, okay. I was just gonna ask.
It's all depend on you guys.
Yeah, because he's a little hesitant. The types of questions that you have, would that be something you wanted to do out here with all of us to discuss with you? Or would it be something that you could actually have questions for Mr. Rodriguez? Or finance
Some
manager?
questions From Mr.
No, I meant to say in
John
private.
Quinn? Yes.
Okay.
I have some.
So again, back over here. Is that okay then? You said okay?
Yeah. second
Okay,
for
then
discussion.
at this point, Councilmember Kim would need to leave since there's going to be discussion and he's disqualified himself on the item.
All right?
If
And
it,
that vote there needs to be erased, correct? We're not going to do that right now. Okay. Okay, Mr. Castro.
Yes, okay, on page 2002, on the Calexico School District, there is $497,047. That expenses are from the crossing guards, right?
Measure H.
On page 2, yeah. Yes.
Says crossing guards.
Did you get a page 2?
Measure H, December.
What was the amount? I'm sorry.
It's 49,747 and 70
Es que
cents.
dijiste-
It's 49, yes, I'm sorry.
Measure H, December crossing guards.
Okay, that's for crossing guards.
Yes, my question is that for 10-month expenses or how many?
Well, because of the school year.
Yes, I'm talking about is for the whole year or 10-month expenses? The amount of...
I wouldn't know without being able to see the invoice. I'd have to look up
You
the
don't- What do you mean? You don't have the agenda or what?
I don't have the invoice here.
You don't have it?
Not here, no.
I think Measure H
It
was,
says here, I mean, you don't know what...
I think Measure H was awarded the district over $175,000.
This has to be more than 1 month.
Yeah, it has to be more than a month.
Probably more like 3 or 4 months.
Mr. Creed, how do you justify this number? I mean, you tell me you don't have the information, but can you explain how do you justify this number? That's my question.
Well, he doesn't have the invoice right now, is what he's saying.
I understand that, but
By saying justify, are you asking what this amount represents, what it's covering? Is that?
it says here for the crossing guard. I know that's represent
Like you said,
the
time.
amount.
The time. That's what you're asking?
Yes,
The backup to that, as Mr. Quinn has stated, the backup to that is in the invoice itself, but as you can see, we wouldn't be able to bring all of these to the council unless we knew what it was. So my suggestion would be in the future that if we're going to question something, you let us know so that way we can bring the invoice in. The invoice itself will have what we're paying for, but we'd have to go pull the invoice. But I can guarantee you that's more than 1 month because Councilman Moreno is correct. It was 100 and some odd. So I would venture to say it's probably 3-4 months.
Easily.
so
Yeah, I recall Measure H awarding the district over $175,000 for crossing guards for a year, or something like that.
Councilman Castro, if you'd like, I mean, I guess we could go on to the next item while the finance director goes and gets the invoice. Do you know where it is, John, right away?
I can try to find it.
And then we would know exactly when we have the invoice what it's for.
okay, but that's
We do have the backup, it's just we don't have it with
Es
us.
que no lo tiene memorizado.
no, but I mean there is some numbers right here in it says here
Page 2.
the numbers are too small. That's the reason and I can't see.
49,747.
I need new glasses or something like that.
I have
believe so. That's-
I would ask Mr. Castro if there was any other questions he might have, so maybe...
yes, I have a question.
You do have another one?
Yes, yeah, sure. That one. Yeah, sure. Okay, on page, got it? You hear that? On page. You hear that, Mr. Tirado? 007?
You scared me.
Okay, on the column urban future, the amount is $9,150. That's for the description is for RDA successor service, right?
That's correct.
Right now, we're talking about, that's for, that invoice was in April 2013, right?
March 6th.
Yeah, that is the check date. Again, on a lot of these, it could be payment for a particular month, or sometimes it could be for 2 months, it could be for 3 months. We just need to look at the backup and see how many months we're paying, or what are we paying. So to actually be able to answer your question, what services, for what dates are these services, we'd have to pull the invoice, because in the invoice, we'll have all the backup.
Okay. Will you please, next time, can you bring those, that information?
Yeah, if you can just, Mr. Castro, give us the...
There is the amount, right? It's right here.
Yeah, the amount is correct. We just can't give you the detail because we don't have the invoice with us. So maybe in the future, if you could just either call me or call John and let us know which ones you're going to request information on, we'll bring them.
I believe you guys can change the form and put the dates in the amount of the payments in the same report. Can you do that, Mr. Queen? That's my question.
We can do it, but the report will be like that.
Like that? Oh.
I would suggest to Mr. Castro.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious because there is a number. That's the reason I'm asking you about this. And
I guess if our staff had information ahead of time, they could have provided you with the information readily. So, we had briefings, did we not, this week, or no?
Yes, but Mr. Castro wasn't able to make it.
Okay.
well, that's it. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Would you like to motion for its approval?
Motion to approve
Consent agenda?
consent agenda.
Second.
We have a first by Mr. Castro, a second by Mr. Hodge. Please vote. Thank you. Approval passes 4-0. Would somebody like to call Mr. Kim back in, please?
Willie? We're gonna get you for that, Willie.
Okay, moving on to our next business
Glad
item.
you said it.
It is item number 2, discussion and/or action on consideration on request by Imperial Valley Assisted Living, Inc., IVAL, of fee payment postponement on zoning text amendment and site plans approval.
Madam
And I
Mayor,
believe-
Council.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, council members, this item comes to you from the standpoint that this group has been working on this project for quite a while. Some of you, I'm sure, have heard about this project somewhere along the line. They are now to the point that they feel that they have enough information and backup that they could go for funding through HUD, or possibly some other funding, but specifically HUD, Housing and Urban Development, federal government. And in order to do that, there's certain things that they have to do to fulfill what's called a pre-app. And once you fulfill a pre-app, if they find it successful, then they'll invite you to submit for a full application. And normally when they invite you to provide for a full application, that usually means they're going to fund you. So the barrier that they've had in the past is that they haven't had the funding to be able to do the upfront cost. So they're approaching the city today asking that we defer some of the fees that we have to, for some of the services that we have to provide until such time that they are able to submit their application and get funding, in which case then they would pay us back. The conditions on there would be that from the point of approval, they would like 11 months to be able to pay it back. As security for this type of transaction, what they're proposing is to put up a piece of property that, in our estimation, with comparable properties, we're estimating is worth around $70,000. And the amount that they would like to see deferred is approximately $15,393. As you know, you have passed a policy that does not allow us to go ahead and waive or defer any fees, and that's why it is before you tonight, because staff does not have that authority. Having said that, maybe I should introduce Mr. Arturo Rioseco or somebody from his group to give you a little more detail on the project itself so that you can understand what they are trying to do and why they're up here requesting assistance at this point.
Welcome, Mr. Rioseco.
Good evening, council members. We're here to ask for this one-time deferment on the fees that would be charged for a zone amendment. The financing cannot proceed if we don't have the proper zoning. That's the very basic step that we have to take, is to have the zoning correct. Now, this type of project is allowable in a light industrial. It is an allowable use. However, the city never listed it as an allowable or disallowed use within that zoning area. You would be not doing anything, we would not do anything more than amend the text, not the zone, not have a zone change, just an amendment to the zone, and that will be that charge of one time $14,000 or $15,000. When we get to correct zoning, our finance company that is interested in our loan, in our project, will have a better appreciation for this project. Right now, there's no need. We can't even talk to them. The zone is not right. Now, if you recall, our project originally was over at the National Guard property, but the city lost the title to that. That it went back to the state, and I guess that's part of this thing that you're doing now with this RDA, whatever it's happening. That's one of the things you have to do. You have to sell that property, I understand. The National Guard property, you have to do something with it. So we've lost that, so we've moved to the Camacho Street. That property is owned, it is controlled by us now. We've changed from the National Guard to the Camacho 360, 370, and 372 properties. And we need your cooperation on this matter. We've been at this for 6 years. 3 years it was, we tried to promote it by having another group, the hospital or the neighborhood house, do it. And it didn't go. And we are attempting, and now for about three and a half years, we've been at this now ourselves, IVAL. We formed a corporation and we've advanced quite a bit. This is an important step for us. The need is very clear. This project, Councilman Moreno has a need for this project. Gabi has a need for this project. Your front door neighbor here that just passed away, Acuña, had a need for this project. Nick Finley has a need for this project. He has his mom in Yuma. There are no facilities here in the valley, and this came to our attention, and we've been trying to do this project with no capital ourselves. We've been doing a lot of work on our own, and we're about that close to getting this thing funded. Your help tonight will make it a lot better for us to go ahead with the project, if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rioseco. So the last time that I understood that you wanted to talk about then was that other building, and now your location that you're proposing is the one on Camacho Road.
360, 370, and 374, 372.
Just kind of curious, does that have frontage?
As what, ma'am?
Does that have frontage to
oh, yeah.
Scaroni?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah?
It's about nearly 4 acres. We are much better situated there than at the National Guard property.
I'm sorry, how many acres?
Nearly 4, almost 4 acres.
4 acres, okay.
So
All right,
this will be a lot better, a lot more room. It'll be a better project. We'll have more facilities, more services to offer.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, just
sir.
for information, what they're asking for tonight is consideration. What we're suggesting is if you so desire to consider that, that then you would give us direction basically to go back and structure an agreement and bring it back to you for final approval. We figured we shouldn't be drawing up agreements before we knew whether or not the council even wanted to consider something like this, because it is setting new policy.
Correct. Okay, Mr. Dioseco, I'm not sure if the council may have some questions still for you. John or Mr. Moreno, I'd like to start with you if you have any questions.
Well,
or statements.
Now, let me get this straight, that this is a zoning amendment, amending the text in the zone of that particular piece of property. Is that correct, Mr. Rodriguez?
My understanding is they're clarifying the language in that zone. Is that correct? In other words, it does not have, it doesn't specifically say that they can do this type of facility in that zone. So as Mr. Dioseco was saying, the staff, I believe, and I'll let Public Works speak to this because they've been involved with planning, believes that we may be able to do it. But I think what Mr. Dioseco and his planning consultants have said is they would like to clarify it to make sure that it's in there so that there's no questions later on as to whether or not that can be done in that zone. Is that correct, Mr. Dioseco?
That's correct. The zoning does not allow it or disallow it.
Okay.
The city code,
It's unclear.
the city zone does not allow it or disallow it. State law does allow. It is a compatible use.
Light industrial.
In a light industrial zone, yeah.
So
It is allowable by the state.
the fees to amend the zoning area is over $15,000.
I forget the figure, but that sounds about right.
Just to amend it.
Yes.
Okay. And that's all we're discussing at this point now. If that changes, if we allow the zoning to be amended, not changed, then they would have a better shot of allowing this project to be developed. Is that correct?
True.
Yes, what will happen is any investor wants to protect themselves, wants to make sure that there's proper zoning before they're ever going to lend you any money on it.
And so we are being asked to defer the fees for 11 months with for a collateral and property that is at this particular area.
That's correct. It's collateralized.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
I'm just going to ask you straight out, Mr. Dioseco, and please, if I'm off base or my ignorance here, why is it that you can't pay the fee at this time?
We don't have the money. We're a nonprofit. We spend monies out of our own pockets, but we don't have the monies. We're doing this $12.5 million project with basically a will to do so. But we're putting up the collateral for it. You're not risking anything.
Here comes Tom.
But you have people, entities, corporations, companies, whatever the proper term is, that if they believe in this, and once this hurdle is passed, they will finance it?
The finance company, if you read your backup, that's one of the, if you read the backup, you'll see a letter from Colonial Heritage, an interest, a letter of interest, or expressing interest in funding
I'm
our
just
project.
asking.
That's one of the things that they need to have. It needs to be zoned properly. That's really the basic step
I
we need to
understand
take.
that. It's just a basic step.
The first basic step that we need to take is to have the zoning corrected.
And I believe this is a very, very important project. I support you on this. And then let me just understand. So I'm going to be the layman here. So if it doesn't, if we defer it and he can't go further with the project, we could still be reimbursed based on the collateral of the property. Is that right?
At this point, we haven't drawn up the agreement, but the land will stand as a collateral for the value of what we put up.
So we'll get our money back.
Yes, depending on how we structure it, yes, the value is in the land.
Okay. That's all the questions I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Kim, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have some questions. I believe this was a good project. I fully supporting to betterment of the community. But this one is not the money. I believe this organization doesn't have money to be handle this case. Supposed to be rely on the grant and supposedly loan from the bank. But what I'm worrying about, in case if the organization fails to get the money grant or nor the bank loan, is that what I'm understanding from the city managers, they have some kind of a agreement in case of fails. What kind of a payment plan do you have?
Well, at this point, the proponents have suggested that the land would serve as a collateral, so therefore, in the agreement, we would work something out as to the value of the land and again, we don't have all the details because we weren't sure if you were wanting even to move forward, but the land would have to cover the value of the fees that have been already spent. And there's a lot of mechanisms to doing that. Because at this point, we're saying the land is probably worth more than that. But, you know, obviously the whole thing is, the problem is that it's not cash, so it's not like he's going to give you cash. It's all in the value of the land. So the land they would have to buy it back for the fees, or we probably would have to sell the land to be able to get the value out of it and cover the fees.
So I hate to see, in case of failed, get the money in the 11th month. I hate to see the organization losing the land, or they are forced to sell the land. I like to see put in some window to give them, after they failed, probably 11 months later, maybe we can have some kind of a year plan to make several different payments to pay the different fees. So make sure the people who try to do with the good intention, when they fails, they don't pay high price on those. I think we need to have some kind of safety, but we still have to, as a city, collect the fees. And also the other issues, in case of fails, the zoning, the amendments, how it's going to do it. There's two issues we are supposed to take care of before we signing any things like that. So for my first intentions to try to save the intention of the organization in case they failed. They don't have to pay a high price of what they tried it.
Well, those details were worked out through the agreement that will.
Yeah, and again, what we're before you here today is the concept of whether you want to move forward with this concept, because we don't have policy addressing that other than we can't do it. It has to be council policy. And so even the numbers that you have here, the 15,393, if there was something else that we needed to do, we'd obviously have to agree that that was going to be paid out of this thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means there might be more fees more than the amount of the approving tonight?
This is the estimate that we have to do it. But if for whatever reason there was something else that we had to do to get it done, then we would have to adjust that. So in the agreement, we'd have to have the ability to do that, so that something didn't come out of the ordinary that had to be done. I don't foresee anything, but if it did, the proponents would have to agree to cover that.
So probably tonight, if we want to approve this one, we might have to open the door for the fee might be changed.
I just want to clarify one thing. Council is not taking action to approve the fee deferral tonight. You are only giving direction to city staff. If you are inclined and you want to consider this at a future meeting, you're giving us direction to go draft that agreement. So my office is going to start drafting the agreement. We'll do the negotiations through the city manager, and we'll bring it back to city council. So I just want to make that clear. No final action tonight.
Okay. If nobody doesn't have any discussion, probably I make the motion to approve for the future action to look into the
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Okay,
So the motion-
Hold on, we all have not discussed yet, though.
For discussion, I'll second it for discussion.
Madam Mayor, can I clarify, just so we make sure we know what it is that we're doing?
Yeah, I need to understand, because I didn't hear you very clearly.
But I believe that Mr. Kim is saying that to give direction to formulate an agreement to
Yes.
come back for consideration for
Yes,
approval.
that's my direction. to
That's
the
what I heard.
staff.
Councilman.
Yeah, I would like to, this is something that's very important, because we just did recently have a decision in this council that waived fees to another development, and so I think that it's important that we all first discuss and have the opportunity for our discussion, and then entertain the motion. Are you done, Mr.?
Mayor Hurtado?
Yes, sir.
We have no intention of asking for any fee deferment. We don't want anything waived. We will pay every...
This is a deferral request, right?
It's a deferral.
Yeah, it's understood.
We are not asking for any consideration of any grants or any waiver of fees. We'll pay everything that we need to pay. But by the way, our consultant, Miguel Sanchez, has been a 3-time city planner in the city of Calexico. He will do most of the work, working with Servin and with the economic development that the city has and planning and so on. Nick and Miguel will work together on this, and staff will do a minimum of work. Our consultant will do 80% of the work.
All right. Well, what we'll do, Mr. Tirado, I know you're standing there. What we'll do is have Mr. Castro make his comments, and after he makes his comments, and we'll allow you to have your comments.
Well, first of all, I mean, as far as the question of Mr. Bill Hodge, do we have the money? No, we don't. I don't have the money. We're not that kind of people with that monetary to take care of. However, we do have an interest on this particular facility. There's a need. Not only in Imperial, we don't have that quality to serve our assisted living people, including veterans and seniors and down the line. We sent them to San Diego, we sent them to Yuma, we sent them to up in Indio. Okay, I think we need something here. And to me, by this approval and the agreement, this gives me some light, because my time is going to come up. I want to have an assisted living that I can attend to. So I want your vote for that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Tirado. Luis.
Okay, well, we don't have no assisted living for the city of Calexico, and I believe this is a good intention. It's a good project from you guys, and also I'm reading this, and you guys guarantee the payment by using the parcel or the property for collateral, and also I believe that Mr. City Attorney and the firm, they're gonna work and coordinate how to do the legal the legal assistance in order to protect our city and to help this person to continue with the project. And like Mr. Yorseco mentioned, he's right now they asking for to help them for make the right zone, right, for that kind of assisted living, and I believe that it's a good project. So I make a motion to, in this occasion, to start with the direction with the city attorney, right, Jennifer? Make a motion to move forward on this issue.
I already made the motion to Mr. Moreno was seconded.
For
the
discussion?
No, for
direction.
For the direction to give the city manager to pursuing the process, to deferring the fees.
I just want to make my comments.
So Mr. Moreno was second.
Okay.
I don't think he got the memo. Yeah, I made the second.
Someday we'll second. Okay, so you're okay.
Mayor Hurtado?
I just want to make some comments, and it's important to this council. I had already initiated a little, and it's nothing to do with what you're asking for. It actually has to do with policy. And I'm referring again to a waiver that occurred at this council towards the neighborhood house probably about a month ago. And that day when that waiver was given, my concern is the future about waivers and the future about deferrals. And I even recall that the school district had some issues with how that was handled. Now, we can sit here every single time when a new project wants to come along and wants a waiver or a deferral. And we're going to have to do this of looking at details, hearing this, each case out, complex, simple, what have you, but we're going to have to force ourselves to see each given individual issue one at a time. Now, do we really want to do that, or would you prefer to set policy so that you have standards when anyone out there approaches us on something like this that you can guide yourself with as far as being a policy, and that our staff can work with policy still and have parameters as far as in-house policies so that we wouldn't have to come to this level where our staff is already given the direction and the parameters with which to work. That is my question.
I think that's a great idea because there may be other cities within the county and the state that have similar policies that allow for deferrals with this type of project. So I agree with you, Madam Mayor.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So what I understand, we opened the window for someone else who
To have exceptions.
to someone else who needs the same amount or any project. That's what I understand.
No, and maybe if I could correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe the other one that came before us, in and of itself, was a nonprofit. This one, in and of itself, is a nonprofit. Am I correct, Mr. Rioseco?
That's correct.
So maybe one for, take a look at nonprofits to see a typical or a policy that would not have to come before the council on every issue.
That's my point.
Just for nonprofit.
Yes.
Right? Oh,
Okay,
I don't know. Is that-
what I
What
understand.
we'll do is we'll look and see what other cities are doing as far as something similar to this. And it would be helpful in the future if we had a policy, because then we wouldn't have to come to you. We just follow the policy.
That's my point.
So we will look at that and see if we can come up with a policy and bring it back to you.
Madam,
But I'd like to clarify, this one is zoning fee, not the impact fees, or zoning process fee. The impact fee is when they have a building permit issuing the impact fee. So this one is like a little different areas, and only for the we defaulting to them to what's called the zoning changing fees.
Right.
So it's nothing to do with impact fees. And yeah, so I agree with that. We need to have some kind of policies they don't have to come to the council every time.
Yeah. Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor, one more comment, if I could, please.
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
We are not a business. We are not developers. We're community people that see a need, recognize it, and are trying to do something about it.
Correct.
And we need your help. We're not coming on from LA. We're not flying in on a jet or a Mercedes. We live here in your community.
Right.
We see a need. The council hasn't.
Right.
Councilman
And
Moreno hasn't.
it's just that your need is,
We are merely trying to do it, and as best we can, and we need your help.
and we're trying to take care of something that needs to be taken care of, considering the circumstances that there are a few more of these that are coming to us. And so that's why I mentioned that it has nothing to do with you and your project. It's something the council needs to take care of, because the other issue was that there was quite a bit of concern from school district that we may have, with the last waiver that occurred, may have waived fees for them as well in one swipe. So that concern is what we need to also ensure that when we sit down and we make policy, that that's straightened out as well, because there was quite a bit of uncomfortable citizens feeling that what occurred here at this council with that waiver ended up resulting in hurting, or you know what I mean. So anyhow, that would be my suggestion. So what would the wishes of the council be?
May I say something?
Sure, of course.
Okay. Mr. Reyseco, your point is well taken about being part of the community, and I wholeheartedly support this. And Madam Mayor's point is well taken about we need to set policy. So it's sort of a separate issue. And I just want to reemphasize that I believe when that policy is set, that yes, we should make a distinction between nonprofit and other areas. Because that was my argument in supporting the neighborhood house, nonprofit.
And we're not asking for a waiver.
No, and you're not asking for a waiver,
No,
so
we're
it is
gonna pay all
different.
impact
And so I
fees
just want to
and-
clarify, we're going to move forward on this, and then we're going to, at a time, hopefully sooner than later, sit down and work out a policy. Is that correct?
That's correct. And one of the other comments I just want to make before you close up is that when we came with these numbers, obviously these numbers, I can tell you already, will change because we'll have to do an appraisal of the land in order to make sure that the valuation is there. All we've done right now is done comps so that we could bring it to you and say, it looks like this piece of land is at least 4 times the value of the fees that they want to defer. So there's going to be some cost in doing an appraisal so that we have a justification as to the value of the land. I'm sure the owners understand that, and that would have to be part of this cost.
Would you consider a
Okay.
realtor's opinion instead of a full-fledged appraisal is about $4,000 for?
Well, in this particular case, I believe it's raw land, correct?
Say again?
It's raw land.
Yeah, it's raw land.
Yeah, so the appraisal shouldn't be that high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the wishes of the council then?
I
We
call-
have given direction then?
I call for the
Pretty clear,
question.
Oscar?
Sorry?
Pretty clear the direction from the
Yes.
council?
I call for the question.
Okay, thank you. Do I have enough discussion, or did you still want to ask something else, Mr. Kim?
Yeah, we all think so we had enough.
Who did you want to direct your question to? I'm sorry. Did you want him?
No, we had enough.
Oh,
Thank you. We had enough.
call for the question.
Thank you for
Sorry.
the,
I call for the
Sorry.
question.
okay, so do I have I'm sorry. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
no second.
So we
by
have
Mr.
ended
Moreno.
then our
To
conversation.
stop the discussion.
To stop the discussion. And now we are going to move on. Informational items.
Madam Mayor, we need a vote on this item.
That's right.
It's just a vote on direction for us to complete the agreement.
Okay.
All right, so direction was given, and I guess we're going to go ahead and vote that we all are in favor of the direction given.
Any day now, Mr. There you go.
Okay, motion passes.
I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to you too, and thank you for your contributions to the community. Okay, moving right along, informational items, item number 3. Business license delinquent list for month of March 2013. And this is an informational item. So I'd just like to hear you say that you're acknowledging receipt.
Acknowledge receipt.
Thank you.
Second that, and it's
Thank
good
you.
information.
Thank you, thank you. Okay,
Actually, just for the record, we don't need to acknowledge this information, so if you have questions, that's fine, otherwise we can move on.
It's good
item number
information.
4, attendance for all city boards and commissions. This is a really important one, I think, for all of us that we've been concerned about. Do you have any comments, Mr. Rodriguez?
How come planning commission isn't on here? I didn't see planning commission. Or is that an oversight on my part?
What was the question, I'm sorry? Oh, the planning commission did not submit, we'll have to get it to you.
Okay. Acknowledge receipt.
Okay, do we move forward on this?
Well, I have some concern.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman Kim.
Okay, first of all, our commissioner meeting is not really notifying some of the members not receiving, or they're not receiving right I already mentioned to Mr. Rodriguez, and we are living in digital areas, digital life, digital time, but a lot of our community members still out of the digital communications. We should have same as like calling them too, and we supposed to give them some kind of notice that we can notifying them. And one of the example, one person doesn't have a personal computer in home, only working their working areas, and they send the notice to after left the work. So didn't know until I called Monday. So the Monday has a meeting and they don't have anything information on those. So I believe that's causing some other members they not be able to attend it, and some of the members and commissioners is not been notified at all, and they both saying they didn't get the city said no answer. The person said they never received any. So I don't know exactly what is going on there. And also I was requested, I believe that some of the council members, they like to know the when, how, what kind of a discussion going to discuss commissioners. I believe all the city council members to receive at least by the email to all the commissioner meeting and the agenda and backup documents.
Right, what we're going to do to solve that issue is we're just going to send out a memo to all the boards and commissions to put the council on their list. So when they have meetings or whatever, it'll be sent out to you, and you obviously can decide whether you want to go or not.
That would be appreciated.
Yeah. And also I think I'm going to use this time to, I've been failed to nominating the commissioners of the business improvement district. The person was too busy to handle it, so I have to name for the next meeting.
Okay, were you guys on?
Not now, because we have to go to the next meeting with agenda.
I just have a brief one, Madam Mayor.
Oh, sure.
I want to thank you for putting this on. I believe I brought this up last time, but it's been brought up several times, and this is important, and I think Councilman Kim's point is well taken. We need better communication, so thank you for responding to that, City Manager Rodriguez. But in addition, I know it's a question of manpower, but I think it's very important that we receive in a timely manner the minutes of these commissions, and on some kind of periodic basis, in a systematic way, communicating to them that among all of these, there's got to be one of the commissions at a given time having something important to say, and to come in front of us and give a very brief presentation on their work.
And we're scheduling them. We're trying to make sure that we don't get too many presentations before you, like we had 3 today. So now that we've got some of those out of the way, I believe we're scheduling some of the other. In fact, we have a calendar that we sent out, didn't we?
What she just said is that she sent out a calendar to the commissioners and that she's hoping to have 2 meetings per month?
Two representatives to report every.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2 representatives to report at each meeting is what Ms. Garcia just said.
Each one will come before you at least twice.
Okay, so each one will come before us at least twice a year to report what the commissioners are doing. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but the thing is, another one is a lot of commissioners not having meeting. We have to set at least once a month they have to have a meeting. A lot of commissioners I've been seeing it, they don't have a meeting.
And again, I think that this is why I think you requested who was there, who wasn't, because a lot of these we don't get quorums.
Well, why don't we discuss at this point which are the ones that we feel may be having issues with no-shows? For example, like the beautification committee, that one hasn't met in a very long time.
No, never.
So we would need to speak, each one of us possibly have that opportunity to speak to each our respective appointees. So beautification's one of the problem ones, right?
Yes.
And what else do you feel is a problem? Mr. Kim, on the one that you say?
Planning, they didn't have a long time. Financing?
Planning Commission just spent recently, didn't they? I believe they did. Like within the last 2 weeks? Yeah.
During the storm.
Okay. Which other one? Street naming committee, I guess that one's not too
Street naming,
active
they never
either.
meet?
I've had a couple of questions on street naming within the year, but not too many. Do you gentlemen feel that street naming committee might need some ear pulling?
Somewhat?
Pulling my ear?
Well, are there streets or things that need to be named?
Well, there is some new development still.
Okay, then they should be meeting.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. So then I'm mentioning street naming commission, and I'm mentioning your beautification commission, that I see that there's problems there in attendance. What do you feel are the other ones?
Library board meeting, I've been having from my commissioner, they never called the meeting. And what I see here, like they have a no quorum. I don't know what's going on there. And I think they have a recreational commissions. They had the issues about the meeting on the March. No quorum.
Did you assign somebody already, Mr. Hodge, to your, because it says here that Manny was...
I did.
You did?
That's recreation. I did Angel Uribe.
Angel Esparza?
No, Uribe.
Oh, so that needs to be changed then on that list. Who did this list? Gabby? Oh, okay. Then under recreation, Gabby, Mr. Hodge has Angel Uribe instead of Manny Hernandez.
Is that Calexico?
Does anybody else notice any changes that need to happen on their list? Oh,
Maybe
okay.
it was prepared before.
Okay. Does anybody else notice anything that we might need to change on who's being mentioned here?
Not in this time, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so then we have the Calexico
Historic meeting.
I'm sorry?
Historic committee.
History Commission, where is it at?
They never meet a long time.
Oh, Historical Commission. Meetings are on call, it says here, which I guess it would be a good idea most likely to then talk to them anyway, see what's going on. But apparently it says here meetings are on call, which when they feel that they have items to discuss, that's when they meet. And meetings are on call. And then, let's see, where's the historical?
That's why I'm saying that every commissioners, they have to have a routine meeting at least once a month. That way they keep alive on the contact
I
each
think
other.
you're right, Councilman Kim. There should be a minimum, but that might have to be worked out later.
Unless you guys, like we're trying to pinpoint together here, what is it that we're going to do? So everyone talk to their historical commissioners? Okay. So anything else that we need to go over with anyone else?
Not I, Madam Mayor.
Okay. And
in my case, I would like to
Adjourn.
Not that lucky.
I would like to report. No, I would like to report that Mr. Gutierrez, Daniel Gutierrez, he's not gonna be.
Police commissioner.
Continue. He's resigning as a police commissioner. So I would like to open that position for the next month. Gabby, so will you please? Yes. So he called me and he said he's not gonna be longer on the position. So that's that I want to report.
Okay. Oops. So does anyone else want to talk about any other issues with your commissioners? No? Okay. If you do have any further, just make sure that we talk to Mr. Rodriguez. Okay, going back now to our agenda. Next item and final item on the agenda is our consent agenda under Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency Successor Agency. That's item number 5. And what you have before you is the approval of resolution of the City Council of the City of Calexico in its capacity as a successor agency to the Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, approving the other funds and accounts due diligent review pursuant to California Health and Safety Code 34179.6. Ms. Lyons, do you have any comments with regard to, or Mr. Rodriguez, on item number 5?
Oh, yes. Yes, this is item is it's come. This item has not come before you, but a due diligence report came to you, if you recall, regarding housing. And these are steps that we have to take with the elimination of redevelopment agencies. We have to go through these steps. And the report, basically what it comes out with is to, at the end, after you go through all the steps, it says whether we owe the state money or not. If you look at the end of the report, I put my glasses on so I don't. If you look at the end of the report, and it would be exhibit number F. That's probably the most important in this whole report, because the report basically takes you through the different steps that we go through to finally get to exhibit F, which says we had $19 million, the redevelopment agency, and based on what's already restricted and cash equivalents that are not required to be turned back to the state, if you deduct that from the $19.5 million, the bottom line is that they're saying we do not have to give the state back any money, which is what obviously we're hoping to get. There are some cities out there that have gone through this process and owe the state millions of dollars. And of course, they're suing the state. In our condition, in our particular report, it says that we don't owe the state anything. What will happen is tonight, hopefully you will approve this. It'll go to your oversight committee for review. The board, we're actually scheduled for the oversight board to meet on the 25th. At the 25th, the board will take comments regarding this particular report, and then they have to wait 5 calendar days, 5 work days before they can approve it. So we're having then a follow-up meeting on the 30th for approval by the oversight board, and then we'll ship it to Sacramento for their review. So that's part of the whole process that we're going through in the elimination of RDAs. So it's good news.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Okay, do I have a motion for its approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. Gabby? Hi, where am I? Okay, thank you very, very much. Motion passes 5-0. And we are now to the end of our meeting. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.